What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video. I'm Narik Chase, and with me is my co-host. Say hey,
Hi.
Miss Lakeisha, and we're sitting here, coming with you with another break of the base. And in this podcast, we're going to be talking about the Nightmare on Elm Street series, things that we didn't like, what we did like, what we thought worked, what didn't work, things we would like to see, comparisons. You know the drill. We sit here and we're going to dive into this and we're going to dive into it deep. Um, I have always been a Nightmare on Elm Street. I know I'm pronouncing this wrong. A Nightmare on Elm Street fan for the since I was a child, because I am an '80s baby. And you've been a fan of it yourself, right?
Yes, I
All
have.
right. Now we all know that the series is a bit, of horror and humor, and some works, some doesn't work. Of course, Robin England plays Freddy Krueger, one of the monster icons of all time in film.
Yep. When you think of Robert England, people automatically think of Freddy Krueger.
So his man didn't actually carve the name out for himself in the horror genre. But as we said, it's break the base. So we're gonna sit here. We're gonna step into the gray and start talking about A Nightmare on Elm Street series. All right. Now, what are your general thoughts on the series itself?
The whole series.
Yeah, just any ideas, thoughts, and opinions about it.
Well, I love the entire series of Nightmare on Elm Street. I like how they I like how it was back to back. The years that they came out, they didn't wait too long to make another one. They just like came with it, like they knew what they was gonna do next, and they just came on with it. I like that.
All right. See, my thoughts about this series is I'm a bit mixed. There's just, as I have stated, I am a fan, but you can be critical of something and still be a fan.
Yep.
I do like the series. I do think, of course, there are some downs. There are some downs to it, of course, especially since I've gotten older. Now that I look back on the series, and I came up with a whole lot of thoughts and questions and stuff about it. So let me ask you: do you think, in terms of the series, do you think that the series became less serious as it continue on? Because I do find when I go back and watch it, they still tell decent stories, but they're not, from the beginning, it's more horror based. But then as it kind of goes down, even though it's still taking place in the horror genre, it seems like it's a little bit too much humor. And most of it is kind of on Freddy's.
Yeah, on Freddy's behalf. Well, we really don't know what kind of. Well, in one of them, they tell his backstory. He didn't seem like he was much of a humorous person. As to why they would, what he says, and like, is it meant to be funny what he says, or they just decided to want to put that in there. I mean, yeah, some of what he says, it is funny. I laugh.
Yeah.
I mean, but when we was, watching it as kids, and
It's hilarious.
well, as kids, it wasn't that hilarious. The deaths was scary.
Yeah.
But now, as we grow up and we look at it again, some of the deaths are quite funny. At least I think so.
What do you think about it? There's a difference between kind of being humorous, there's being cheesy, and it's kind of being corny.
Okay, what do you think?
I think, as I say, there's a difference between it being a humorous, and then it starts to become a bit cheesy. And I think because of how the series progressed, it does become a bit cheesy. Because you sit there and think about it, you can't say too many one-liners in a movie like that. Like for every death, you know what I'm saying? There was a one-liner. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I do understand the appeal that does have, but it just seems like he came from such a serious character to being humorous.
Okay, yeah, but
Like,
you gotta look at the writers who wrote it.
Yeah, but you got, like, example. What was the one where he was dressed up like a chef and he was feeding a woman like that. That was like I could I can kind of understand it, but that seemed a little bit too cheesy. Like he could have went about a different way doing it.
Okay, but you talking about in the Dream Child?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, she was dreaming. She fell asleep at the table. She was at the dinner table. He came as a chef, to give her food.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying?
Okay, you talking about when he was digging in her stomach and feeding her?
I mean, it's like that. It was like too goofy. Like I couldn't take him seriously after that.
Okay, some people would find that disgusting.
If you okay, that could have been a different way. He could have made this chick just kept eating without dressing up as a chef. Like it seemed like when he did that, it seemed like a Bugs Bunny skit. Because how Bugs Bunny kind of dresses up for certain roles, and even though they're kind of ridiculous, that's what I kind of felt.
Okay. Yeah, I get that, but he was the chef. They had chefs at their dinner. He was serving her. She fell asleep. She woke up when she thought she did, and a chef.
I mean, I guess I understand the concept, but it just doesn't sit well because of just the way
of what he did.
Yeah, because it's like I would have liked to see him be more like in the Dream Child, not Dream Child, Dream Warriors. The one kid who he did the whole Pinocchio thing with. He was the puppet at first, or the doll, and then he grew to himself.
Yeah.
And then he cut the dude, and he walked the dude out and made him kill himself.
Yeah.
Like that. It was a bit, you know what I'm saying? It was a bit more comical, but at the same time was pretty serious.
Like, because he had a doll in the room with him, trying to get inside his head. Okay, got the doll, and
yeah, and like that. That's pretty serious. I think it was another one from the Dream Child where there was the black girl in the classroom, and he walked up. He walked over there too, and he sucked the life out. He sucked the air out of her. Which one was it? Was it the Dream Child?
No, it wasn't the Dream Child. It was
I think it was a Dream Master. It was one of those two.
Yeah, it was either 4 or 5.
Yeah, and he sucked the air out of her. I mean, it was funny how he did it. I mean,
yeah,
but you see what I'm saying? It made sense.
Yeah, the way he left her, she had asthma.
Yeah, but it's like some of the deaths do seem a little bit too humorous. It's like it was made for a comical effect. Like I couldn't be scared of him of the chef thing. It was too comical.
Okay, now we couldn't be scared of him because as I look back on it now, as I'm older, it is a bit funny. But this was made back in the 80s. And then when we were little, we watched it. You're a teenager.
I'm sorry. After the first movie, like I wasn't scared. Like all the rest of the movies, I was never scared of. I guess that's why people like Dream Warriors a bit, because Dream Warriors is kind of a mixture of humor and horror. But I still think the first one does nail it when it comes to, even though it does have a bit of humor in it, it's dark humor and it fits really good with the horror aspects.
Okay.
So as far as like the horror versus humor, I think that the series just elaborates too much on the humor. Because when you think about it, when you're actually wanting to see a Nightmare on Elm Street movie, what is it that you expect to see? You really want to hear like how he's going to kill somebody in a humorous way because it's like one-liners and stuff. But you don't see it as, okay, well, I want to see how he's going to terrify this person and how he's going to come up with this creative way to terrify this person. It's more about the one-liners. In fact, let's include Freddy vs. Jason. Freddy vs. Jason, same thing.
After I can give that to you. Like even my sister said on Freddy vs. Jason, it wasn't nothing but funny. She was like, okay, it ain't nothing but it's like comedy all through the movie.
Yeah. So and if you sit there and think about it, even though Freddy, like I said, Freddy's one of those characters that's dark humor. And but think about it, Jason, Michael Myers, all these other ones have been consistent with horror. Even though they each have their own specific ways of doing it, they're being consistent with it. Um, but just like Freddy, even though he is one of those characters that do have a personality, I just wish they would make it a bit more.
Okay, maybe that's why they want to give. They wanted to give him a personality. They don't want him to be stiff like Michael Myers or Jason.
And in fact, you told me that you didn't like the remake.
I did not. I would give it a 3 out of 5.
Okay, that's a decent score. That's good. That's good. That's one reason I did like Jackie Earl. I can't remember his name. Jackie Earl something.
Yeah.
His performance, because he was straight serious. He had the little one-liners and stuff, but he was serious. That was like one of the things I did enjoy about his portrayal of the character. And I haven't brought him up. Which person do you think did a better job with the Freddy Krueger? Robert Englund or the Jackie Earl?
You would really ask me that?
Yes, I'm serious.
I can't help it. I would have. I'm sorry. I would have to say Robert Englund. Robert Englund is Freddy Krueger. That's how I feel.
I'm split. This is how I see it. I see Robert Englund as the goofy Freddy Krueger.
Freddy Krueger is not. He's not that goofy. I mean, he is just.
Did you telling me on what was it? Freddy's Dead, the one where he was flying through the air like the Wicked Witch of the West.
Okay.
See, I see Robert Englund as the humorous Freddy, but I did like Jackie Earl as whatever his last name is as the serious one.
You're supposed to know these names, Narik.
There's so many.
Jackie Earl Haley.
Haley. I thought it was Hayden. I was very close. Haley. Okay. But I did like his portrayal because he was very serious. Okay. So as far as original versus remake, which one are you going to go for?
I would have to go with the original.
Again, I'm mixed. I mean, you know what?
Because I'm okay. I'm going by all these series with Robert Englund, and then this one movie with Jackie Earl Haley. It just sort of, I don't know. You gotta say it might have balanced itself out.
I mean, and I think another reason why it's serious now is because the 80s. Like the way the 80s movies were shot shot that certain way, they don't fit in nowadays. If you realize a lot of remakes are a lot more serious because, you know, that's kind of what the audience kind of demands, a little bit more serious. But I meant like the original movie, like the first Nightmare on Elm Street versus the remake.
Yeah.
So you with the original, for the first movie?
Yeah, I'm with the original.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm with the original too, but I do like aspects of the remake that I think the first movie like are plot holes that could have been ironed out better. But I think the remake did better.
Okay.
How like again? Remember we was talking Manuel said he preferred the origin story for the character in the original series, and I said I didn't like that. I like the remake better because it made sense.
Okay. Yeah, the origin. It kind of makes you think.
Because remember, we was like, okay, the original series, it was a child. He was a child killer that got killed, and then
they said. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you right. Go ahead.
They said like in the original, the reason why they killed him, he was a child murderer, right? Mm-hmm. And they said he was acquitted, which means they
couldn't prove nothing.
Right. They tracked him down. They killed him. Mm-hmm. In the remake, he was a child molester, tracked him down, killed him. Now with that, I would have to really go with the child molester on that, because okay, child murder, you got all these kids coming up missing, like okay, all these kids being murdered.
I mean, like I said, it's a believable. His like that is believable, but I think the molester aspect it's more believable because it's such a common thing. It's because it is a pretty common thing. So it's like, okay, you don't know, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty common. So it's like that's a scary thing in itself. Him being him murdering kids, I can understand that angle too. So I would level the playing field on both of them.
Okay, yeah,
I am leaning more towards the molester though.
But if it was like really true, I don't know if there had been a case as such. Would it take them that long to, after so many, to track him down? Well, which movie was it? He was licking the child's pictures and putting them in a scrapbook. It was New Nightmare. All them kids.
No, that wasn't a New Nightmare.
Which one was it?
It might have been Freddy's Dead. Because the New Nightmare, remember the New Nightmare, it took place in our world.
Okay.
Like all the Freddy Krueger movies were just movies.
Okay, yeah, okay.
But like I said, okay, I'm okay. I was gonna say the molester aspect was more believable. I'm leaning more towards. I'm saying both of them a bit more level, but I am gonna say molester is a little bit more believable because it's such a more common thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we was like, it was in the conversation we were saying that it was more believable that the parents killed the murderer rather than the molester. And I said, well, okay, to your credit, I concede to that. Yeah, it would be more chances of a group of parents doing that to somebody that's murdered their kids than somebody molested. But then I said at the same time, he didn't molest one kid. He molested all of their kids. Mm-hmm. He did all this stuff with all their kids.
Yeah. So I'm
like, that's another aspect. So origins wise, with the motive, with that, I'll level it out. I'll say they're about even. Do you believe the whole demon thing?
Were the three little demons?
I don't care how old I was. I never liked that.
That was on Freddy's Dead when they showed his backstory. To keep him alive and make him and haunt people in their dreams, they could have done something else besides the three little demons going inside of him thing. Yeah.
Have you ever seen the movie Spawn? Michael J. White?
Yeah.
You remember the part when he died and it showed him falling down that long ass tunnel of fire, and then he was in hell?
Yeah.
I would have liked that.
Yeah. Okay.
Like that would have made a lot more sense, and I would have liked it to been like, okay, they gave him. If you sit there and think about it, they gave him the ability to do this, but why? Like they never addressed why, or they never addressed that there was a consequence for him accepting that.
Mm-hmm.
They basically just gave him godlike powers for no reason. So it's like, okay, you want to kill kids, but why are you still killing kids? Like, why? And why did they give you that ability? You know what I mean? Like, they never actually specified. They never really gave you any exposition onto why. I mean, yeah, you see, I still don't understand the three-headed thing. That was completely stupid.
He wasn't just going for revenge, like in all of these. I know he got the parents that were involved in it.
No, he didn't mess with the parents.
No, and well, he got one of them. He got Nancy's.
But that wasn't even like he was trying to. He was like, well, I'm trying to like. He was like defending himself when he killed that guy. What about his motivations? Remember we was talking about that too? I said his motivations didn't make sense really in the old one, but then in the new one it actually made more sense. In the old one he was killing kids, got killed for killing kids, then because he got killed for killing kids he continued to kill kids, but it's like, why? And then in the remake, he was molesting kids. The kids told on him. The parents came back and killed him. Then he went back as revenge against the kids.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
It does.
And I understand what Manuel was saying when he was saying that, kids were bugging him and stuff. But I'm like, seriously, that's not a motivation. Because kids pick on kids all the time. It'd been different if the kids that were picking on him, he went after those people.
Okay, but he also said that he wasn't quite all that right in the head because he was basically a rape baby.
I still don't. That too. That whole child of 100 bastards. I still don't understand that. Maniacs. What? The bastard of 100 maniacs. I still don't understand that. Go back in there. I didn't see nobody in that asylum or whatever. There ain't no reason for all them crazy dudes been in that one big ass room. And if you think about it, what was in that room? Nothing. It was like a den. A bunch of crazy dudes in there. If they would have actually did more exposition onto that, I think they should have done that. I think they should have went back and did some decent exposition. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's one thing I do think that series did fail on. Even though they did do it in the movies, it wasn't believable. You still didn't understand nothing. Like, okay, his mom was raped and he was son of a bunch of guys or whatever. However they put it. But how's this growing up?
They said his mama was locked away. They said it was over a holiday weekend in there with them people. Okay, for one, how did she get down there with all them people?
Yeah, like that never made sense to me.
And then they said when they found her, she was barely alive. You know, all of that over the weekend, she would have been dead.
Yeah, that's no reason she should have been alive.
So that's kind of hard to believe about that.
And then it makes you wonder too. So they literally locked those guys in there for the weekend, or like that doesn't make sense. Nobody checked on them. Nobody gave them food. There was no night staff or anything. What they literally did was lock those crazy guys in one big ass room and then literally left.
Yeah, I get what you're saying because if they would have came back, they would have found her.
Yeah, she wouldn't have been there the whole week or weekend or whatever.
Okay, so I think they said they hit her. They hit her somewhere.
They still should have found her. They still, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. The plot holes don't make sense. It really don't.
Okay. What do you like about the Freddy series?
I like the idea. You do have a killer comes in your dreams and
slashes you with his little hand knife.
Like that idea itself is good. I think that of course, due to like the time period and budgets or whatever, that it wasn't properly utilized. I say the first one utilized it the best. Mm-hmm. Dream Warriors, I do like. It's a fan favorite to everybody. Dream Warriors, I do like because it kind of takes that concept and it expands it. It expanded it. Like I do like that, and the other films do it too, but for some reason it doesn't seem like it sticks. And one thing about it, like I said, I do like the idea of it. A guy can come in your dreams and kill you.
Mm-hmm. He uses what's around you to kill you. Mm-hmm. Like the dude and the one who got killed in the waterbed. What was he doing before he went to sleep? Looking at the poster on his wall, and he fell asleep. Pictured the girls in there swimming around.
And got them.
And that's how he used it to get, So that's smart, really. He uses.
I'm actually this one. It's gonna go back to the remake. Remember the first dude that got killed? In his dream, it was Freddy pulling a knife across his throat, but in reality, it was him pulling a knife across his own throat. Uh-huh. Did you like how they played that?
Yeah, I did.
Like that. Like that's a pretty good one.
Yeah, cause what is it? He ain't had no sleep. You don't get too much sleep. You'll start to see things, hear things. Technically, you'll go crazy.
And your body actually sleeps, but you're not really conscious that you're sleeping. Mm-hmm. And this is where again I said the remake did a better job of him doing that. Remember when Nancy went into the store to go get the medicine or whatever it was to keep them awake, or adrenaline, whatever it was. And the boy stayed in the car. It was like a drugstore or something, or a gas station or something like that.
No, the boy went. Nancy on the remake.
No, yeah.
Yeah, the boy went. Nancy stayed in.
No, it was Oh, can't believe.
Sorry, you guys.
Sis, I'll give you a call back on the podcast, okay? I forgot she was gonna call around that time. Excuse me, guys. Terribly sorry for that. Yeah, it was a girl, because when he stopped, he cut her arm. But you see how in that sequence, that's the perfect sequence of all the Freddy movies where it shows a great use of his ability. Remember, she was crawling backwards, and in it you could see him shift between the real world and the dream world, right. And every time it shifted, he was closer and closer.
Yeah, she went in after him.
Yeah.
And then because she didn't know, but she was falling asleep in the truck, and he opened the truck, reaching at her. She woke back up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he said she was going into having many something where she was just falling asleep without even knowing it.
Yeah. So, and that sequence that Freddy, that's literally one of the best sequences of all the franchise, because it shows how he can, like, he's using your lack of sleep against you. Mm-hmm. Like, that's literally one of the best sequences.
Like, you don't know whether you're asleep or awake.
That literally was the best sequence to show that. In fact, what do you think about his abilities? You think they're pretty unique? I think he actually has a unique. That is pretty unique.
With the ability to kill you in your dream, in your sleep?
And not even just kill you. It's about manipulation. How his manipulation extends from the dream world to the real world.
Yeah.
Like when in the first one, when the boy was in the cell, and then the blanket sheet went around his neck while he was sleeping, and it hung him like that. Like, that's an interesting way. When I think it was the Dream Child, or maybe the Dream Master, when the main woman's boyfriend or husband was in the truck, and Freddy made him crash.
That was the Dream Child.
Yeah, and he made him crash like that. Even though the boy was seeing it one way, but in reality, you know what I'm saying? So I like that. I really like it.
The deaths in the Freddy series, they were they're pretty realistic, except for on the first one. Okay, Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp's death cannot be explained by nobody.
I mean,
there's no way to explain that.
You walk in, I was saying the blood, all that blood. It's like we don't have that much blood in us to have it come up like that.
I mean, we got a lot of blood, but not that much.
I mean, he didn't have a waterbed, did he? Mm-mm. So that was like an unexplainable. I couldn't get with that death.
And I like the fact that it didn't show like nobody or anything. Like you see the detective go in the room, but you don't see what's in the room.
Right.
Like that was a great way of doing that, because there's no way you could. It was great how he did it, but it's like, how can you follow that up? How can you show how he did it? Because usually when somebody dies in a dream, a lot of times you do see what happens. Again, go back to the girl who had asthma. In the dream, he sucked her dry, and she looked like a dummy, which was good. That was funny. She looked like she.
And like then in reality, she was
having an asthma attack.
Having a real bad asthma attack and died.
More of my I would have liked to have seen it is like in the Dream Warriors, like when he was killing them. You didn't see them die in real life. Like I would look like when a girl overdosed. I wanted to see what she looked like. The dude, the comic book. Mm-hmm. I wanted to see what he looked like. The dude with the wheelchair. I wanted to see what he looked like. I wanted to. That's one thing.
For it to go back and forth.
Yeah, show us what they are. Like maybe have somebody stumble across the body. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like the one girl that got turned into a roach. I would love to have seen what happened.
Yeah, because she was
a bodybuilder or something like that. Yeah, she was like lifting weights. And then, Freddy...
But to do that, she was lifting weights, but she would have had to fallen asleep. She couldn't fall asleep while she was lifting weights. She was lifting the weights, and the weight came back down. You saw Freddy. So was she asleep somewhere else? And
I could see her possibly, probably dozing off doing it, not while doing it, but possibly
like in rest,
yeah,
like resting on a thing, and then
yeah.
I wonder how she looked after he turned her into a roach
And then crushed her, and it like I would have liked to have seen what she, the best case scenario I could think of that is maybe had the weight like fall on her or something. Like that's about the best case scenario I can think out on that. So who name me your 3 top deaths?
Wow.
Because I know my 3 top deaths are the asthma one, because it was funny. It was messed up, but it was funny.
Yeah, it was believable too.
The one on Freddy's Dead where the guy jumps out the window and activates the parachute, and then Freddy comes and cuts it off, and then he lands on the spikes. That didn't make sense.
Okay, so how was that in reality? What happened?
All you see was his body. No, you see his body actually, I think, shoot through the air. Like it was like his body was laying somewhere, and his body literally went through the ceiling, and then it came back down. And all you see was like a bunch of holes in it. I think that's what it was.
Okay, before you name your third one, okay, you say you like the end of Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. You know, it's a scene in the end. But before that, when they was having a party, Freddy was in the kitchen with the girl. Okay, he was inside the boy. Now, when he jumped through the window, you know, the kids was outside.
Yeah.
I had wanted to know when he got back up, did they see Freddy or did they see the boy?
I think they saw Freddy at that point. Because, yeah, I understand, because the whole movie, they make it seem like Freddy's doing it, but then they turn around and it was the boy doing it.
Yeah, because somebody's like, okay, calm down, man, calm down. And then he went through the bushes, you know, and disappeared. So, did they see Freddy or did they see the boy? That's what I always want to know about that movie.
In that part, I think that it was actually him that time.
It was Freddy.
Yeah, I think it was him. And I know people, they don't like that movie, but that's one thing I did like about that movie, because they took a different approach. They said, okay, let's have Freddy haunt somebody, and use his ability to haunt somebody, manipulate him in the real world. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think that movie, it was different, and people don't like it different. They just want to see him go into people's dreams and kill them. But I did like that plot, because it did make sense. I didn't like the boy. I did not like him.
Okay, they did say that outside Freddy begins to slaughter the team. So,
yeah. I didn't like the main dude, though, because he whined too much. I was hoping Freddy would have killed him. I'm sorry. I could not. Literally the whole movie, he was, I'm serious. I'm serious. And, okay. What about A New Nightmare?
Wes Craven's New Nightmare?
What did you think about that one? I did not like that one.
Why not?
I didn't like the Freddy the costume, because the costume looked so fake. Now him wearing that leather jacket and the leather pants and stuff, I thought that was tight. Like when he had that on, I was like, that boy looks smooth. Okay, I can deal with that. The whole bone hand thing with the claws, I didn't like that.
Okay, because it was really. It was really nice. I mean, it wasn't make.
It didn't look good. That's one. His whole costume design didn't look good on that movie. The story I liked. The one thing I didn't like, the main thing I didn't like, was how they reveal. In fact, bump that. The story, I didn't like the story. I understood his character being a part of a movie series in that movie. One thing I didn't like about it was how the chick that played Nancy, from the get-go, she was scared of him for some reason. I was like, that doesn't make sense. What you should have did was establish her life, her success on that movie, and then let something happen after that, then let her be scared of it. She was scared from the jump. And it's like, wait a minute, you sat there and helped.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Heather Langenkamp shouldn't have been scared of Freddy, because to her, there shouldn't have been no Freddy. It was just a movie.
Yeah, even she said she was having nightmares. Still, no reason for her to be doing that.
Okay, nightmares. Yeah, you made.
It should. Yeah.
She was in.
Yeah.
The first one and the third one.
Yeah. Yeah. It should. That movie should establish her success and how happy her life was. Then, like maybe 20 minutes into the movie, that's when Freddy stuff starts happening. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So and what happened? Her husband died in like the first 5 minutes of the movie.
True.
Like, see, that was a waste. And then I didn't like how everybody that was involved with the movie series actually knew about Freddy coming into the real world. I was like, because Robert Englund was in the movie playing Robert Englund, and he knew Freddy was in the real world. He was painting pictures on this stuff.
Okay, everybody was playing themselves, basically. Wes Craven.
Wes Craven was in it too. He said, "Oh, Freddy came into the real world." I'm like, seriously? Like, that's very poor writing.
It should have been maybe a little bit more, because Heather Langenkamp is an actor. She was playing Nancy. Mm-hmm. So for her to have dreams about Freddy and then all of a sudden her husband gets killed, and you see slashes across the chest, like, wow.
Yeah, like I said, in the first 20 minutes of the movie, it shouldn't have been no Freddy Krueger. It should have been her at a Comic-Con signing pictures and stuff, walking up the red carpet or something. It showed her life and success. Instead, she did the same thing that they did in the second movie. The dude was whining from the jump. Like, he was getting haunted by Freddy from the jump, instead of actually showing his life. Like, that's the first movie did good. The first movie, it shows the kid's life before Freddy. Mm-hmm. Even though they kind of did dream about him, you actually see his life before him. Then he starts messing with him. And that's one reason. Okay, what about Freddy's Dead? Did you like his daughter, the woman being his daughter? I thought that was an interesting twist, but they could have did that better.
Yeah, because as a teenager, when they showed his backstory on Freddy, he was beaten. He killed I don't know who was staying with his uncle.
That was one of the laziest whoopings I've ever seen a dude put on somebody. He was hitting him I was like, that's how you hit him?
Okay, this bastard of 100 maniacs grew up, got married, had a child. It's kind of hard to, but still done the same thing. It's kind of hard to believe that, he want a life, but he's still like that.
Yeah, and it's like, did he have a psychiatrist? Like, that was another thing. There was no psychiatrist that said, okay, well, this dude, this dude basically came up retarded or whatever. So, how do you feel about that? We ain't getting no files on that. What, like the Freddy Krueger files? We should have had something like that. How Mr. Krueger acted at age 10, how he acted at age 15. Dude hitting him in the shoulders with a belt, which that was literally some of the laziest, I don't know what you call that, choreography. That was literally some of the all he did was turn the belt one way, turn the belt the other way, turn the belt the other way. I'm like, why are you hitting this dude in the shoulders? I'm like, okay.
Okay, we see all the downsides, but like I said, Freddy is
he's entertaining.
It's a good series.
Yeah, he's still entertaining.
It's very entertaining. If you like slasher films, it's a good slasher series. We are not downing Robert Englund or Freddy anyway. I still love Freddy.
Yeah, like I said, this is one of them. This is one of time I can say I criticize the series, but it doesn't mean I don't enjoy it.
True.
Yeah. Okay, so and in fact, any characters that you like. In fact, I forgot to do my third death. My third death might as well just go ahead and be to Johnny Depp. But okay, we'll get out of that. Okay, characters. Any favorite characters?
Well, they were a little bit different. I like Nancy. Because she did show up in
the third movie.
Yeah, the third movie, and to warn them about
Freddy, which I wish she would have did a lot better, but that's writing. That's probably writing. I liked the black dude. In fact, almost every character in Dream Warriors was likable.
Mm-hmm.
on some level. Oh, you know what? Let me rewind that. Johnny Depp's death was not my favorite. My favorite one was the one where the girl was like watching TV, and he was like, "Welcome to primetime, bitch," and he slammed her head in TV. Now that right there was funny. That was my favorite one.
That was kind of unbelievable too, because he was up here, and in order to put her head through that, she would need a stool.
I mean, it's not impossible.
Unless she just jumped through.
It's improbable. It's highly doubtful that it could happen, but you know what I'm saying. But okay, I did like most of the characters from the Dream Warriors. I did like some of the characters. Nancy, of course. Any characters from the new movie, I did like Nancy's character from the new movie.
Yeah.
Which I think one thing that the new movie did wrong, again, they didn't give really no exposition on any of the characters except for really Nancy's character. Like, I can understand the dude killed himself, died at the beginning of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but it should have sat down and actually established a little bit more exposition on everybody's lives. Okay, this dude is doing this, this girl's doing this, this dude is doing this, this dude is doing this, and then Freddy starts messing with him.
Yeah, when I first saw the remake, I thought the blonde-headed girl, I thought she was the main character
because it focused on her first.
Until she got killed. So I was like, ooh.
So yeah, I understand. That's one thing I would like for them to do is if they're going to make. In fact, should they make make a sequel?
I don't know. I don't know. Probably not. But I think they did say if they did that. Robert Englund said he would not play it, but he would like to be in it.
I wouldn't mind him being in it because I like those types of cameos. Mm-hmm. But I don't want him to play Freddy because again, his Freddy doesn't fit in the modern film age now.
Okay.
So, and like I said, Jackie Earl Haley did a good job as Freddy. He was more serious, but he did a good. Like if you think about the character of Freddy himself, he did a pretty good job. He's just more serious. So, if they did come up with a sequel, I would like that. But I want them, again, don't jump off with Freddy from the jump. Give us good characters. Give us like 4 characters we can care about. Mm-hmm. We like them. We care about the situations. That way, when he starts jumping off the handle and stuff, we'll actually care for him. And don't make their deaths like predictable. That's one thing I don't want them to do. And, okay, yeah, but I guess that kind of borderlines into my next question was like what they could have done better or what can they do better.
Well, if they did do another remake, it would. I don't know what hasn't been done, or if something from the series in another remake, and they can make it better, make it more believable.
I wouldn't mind, honestly, if they did like they did with the Jason remake, because I liked it. I liked him, because he was badass. They took the first 3 Jason movies and put it into one movie. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't mind them doing Dream Warriors, Dream Master, Dream Child, and putting them all together and remaking it that way. That way we can actually have good characters, a lot of good characters, a reason for Freddy to do what he does, and more backstory.
Okay, maybe they should make one about Dream Child. Alice had a son. Maybe he need to be in. It would have been something if he was in that remake.
Yeah.
But he wasn't.
Yeah, I would like for y'all to let us know in the comment section below. Should they continue to try to make a remake? Either reboot the series again or keep where it at. Because honestly, like I said, I did like Jackie Earle Haley. I thought he did a pretty good job. I thought the story was pretty good. Some of the characters and the acting was so-so. Mm-hmm. But it was pretty good in my opinion.
But all in all, the series is good. I love Robert Englund and, Freddy all together.
Well, it's that time, guys. Once again, we've sat here and we've talked about the Nightmare on Elm Street series, what we liked, what we didn't like, characters, deaths, everything. And before we go, Again, which one is your favorite?
My favorite, it would have to be the first one.
Okay, we're in agreement. The first Nightmare on Elm Street film is the best. So, guys, in the comment section below, let us know your thoughts on A Nightmare on Elm Street. What they could have done better, what you like, what you don't like. Just throw down any ideas, opinions, or thoughts. And remember, we will be uploading podcasts every Tuesday, so we're going to make this a thing. We hope you join us next week. And again, Miss Lakeisha, I am happy and honored to have you here with me again.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
All right then, guys. To the next video or podcast. We'll catch you guys later.
Bye.